Hello everyone and welcome back to my walkthrough of Dark Souls 3. So, last time we completed the Consumed King's Garden and Greyrat hasn't come back from his expedition, so we will need to go find him. But first, let me reinforce my Estus flask. We will need all the help we can get in the next area. And I would also like to level up a little bit.
Welcome home, Ashen One. Speak thine heart's desire. Very well, then take me.
And I would like to put some points into vitality, about 5 of them.
Farewell, Ashen One. Me.
Right, I guess I have what I need. Let's continue on with our journey. And the shortest way to get there is from Dragon Slayer Armor Bonfire. Right, so moving forward. We find another bonfire. Now, I know, these bonfires are close to each other, but the reason for this one is to enable PvP in this whole area, as this is the only bonfire and you don't get any more, you just get a bunch of shortcuts here. Now, before this door, we find an NPC who is actually Blackhand Gotthard, the NPC that we could have summoned for some bosses during our journey. And he now lies dead. He has left his twin swords and the key to Grand Archives, which is how we can enter this area. And sure enough, here we arrive at the Grand Archives, and such a store of knowledge as you might imagine. There are some sorcerers in here, starting with a crystal sage that's already beat me up quite a bit. So let's make him taste the greatsword. There we go. It didn't go very smoothly, but I will take it. So here we can find a crystal lizard that drops a crystal gem and a twinkling titanite. And that is what's to the left. To the right, we can also find a couple of these guys. One over here and the other one trying to jump us. Let's take out both of them. Over here is also where we can find a titanite chunk. Now, moving on, I would like to switch to a silver cat ring, as there will be quite a few drops in this area. So, to progress we need to go here, and we encounter a new type of enemy, I guess scholar of sorts. Now, before we continue on, there's an item over here that we can pick up, and an enemy who's trying to jump us, but he froze. Anyway, the item here is a soul of a crestfallen knight. Now, to the right there is another item, a titanite chunk, and another enemy trying to be sneaky. You best get used to these guys, there's quite a few of them in here. Now here we find some more of these scholars, including one with his candle lit. There we go. And up here is also where we can find a titanite scale. Right, and now over here I will actually switch to Night Slayer's ring. Here is I guess a dead end, but if we go over here, there is a Lothric knight with a spear and a great shield. and this guy is not playing around. But neither am I. So let's take him out. There we go, and he drops a large titanite shard. Cool. Now over here on this ledge there's another titanite chunk, and in here we find a crystal chime, which I'm not going to use as I'm not casting any magic. Now in here is where you can dunk your head in wax. Now aside from looking funny, this has some other properties. So in here, in this dark room, we can find a couple crystal lizards. So let's take them out before they escape. And we also find these ethereal hands, I guess, which actually deal damage and build up curse on you if you are not if your head is not waxed like that of scholars. Right, so there's a lever that opens a room over here. Next to the bookcases is a soul of a nameless soldier, and behind this bookcase is witch's locks and power within. The former is a whip type weapon, and the latter is a pyromancy. Now over here to the left we find another one of these guys. Let's take him out, and next to him is a titanite scale. Right, now let's take out this guy. Alright, now over here we find another crystal lizard to take out, and up there we can find the crystal sage. So in order to get to him we can go out here and up the ladder, which I need one more hit to take him out, and unfortunately I will now be attacked by him, so I need to get to him. But before I do that, there are quite a few enemies on the way. Firstly, what I want to do is I want to run over here, as there is a titanite chunk that I can pick up and a ladder that I can kick, and if I time it correctly I don't take any damage from Crystal Sage's spell. And, over here there is also a lever which unlocks some loot all the way down there. Over here we have some more of these guys, so we can take them out as well. And here is another titanite chunk. Now let me dunk my head in wax again to increase the duration, right? Because it was about to wear off. There we go. Now over here, up these stairs, there are a couple more of these guys. And so far it's not looking well at all. My vertical hits really made me miss those guys. But I got them at last, and one of them dropped a titanite chunk, so that's nice of him. Now on this balcony we find 3 homeward bones, and now let's keep going up. I'm going to go up here first, take out this scholar, and I need to get to the Crystal Sage finally. So I will run over here, take out this scholar and this little bugger, then take out this little bugger. Then over here is where I find another scholar, which a whole lot of these spooky hands. There's also a Titanite scale here, and let me finally go deal with the Crystal Sage once and for all. Goodbye. Right, after defeating this Crystal Sage, we get a Crystal Scroll, and aside from that, there's also a lever here that opens these bookcases, and it then acts as a shortcut. But first, let me go take care of one of the drops I was mentioning. So over here... So, you can drop over here from this bridge, and that's how you get to a crystal lizard that drops two Titanite scales. And this is also where the Lothric Knight was. And the bookcase that we opened earlier is over here, and it leads to the chest with a Titanite slab. Alright, now let me go back to where I was. I'll also heal along the way, why not? I've already used half of my Estus and I'm not halfway through the area just yet, so that's not looking very good. Anyway, up here, let's finally take revenge on the guy who shot me off the bridge. And this is also where you can drop and pick up another Titanite scale. And this is also where you can jump over here to find another item, which is a triple crossbow known as Avelin. Right, let's now drop over here where we first encountered Crystal Sage, and there is a shortcut over here in a form of a ladder. Alright, so moving on. Up these stairs has been explored, up over there has already also been explored. Let me once again dunk my head in wax. Alright, there we go. Now over here between these bookshelves we find a scholar ring. Then over here on the balcony we find another Lothric Knight. So let's approach him quietly from behind and execute a charged attack. Alright, another one. Thank you for confirming, Lothric Knight, the fact that dropping down there is just death. Right, anyway, before I cross the bridge, there's another item over here. It's a shriving stone, and if we go up this ladder, in a corner over here, we can find a Titanite scale, and we can also find an illusory wall right here. And behind it we find a third Outrider Knight of the game. So let's once again use the smart strategy of quietly walking towards an enemy. And now that he is aware of us, I guess it's time to dance. Right, there we go. And after defeating this Outrider Knight, we get the set of its armor. Now over here we can also find a Soul Stream, which is an advanced sorcery. Now moving on to finally cross the bridge. Now before you do this drop, keep in mind that I have the Silver Cut Ring, so I don't take any fall damage. Alright, this part of the area is now done. Let's go over here And to the right we find a shortcut that leads to a lever which pulls down a bookcase, which is to the right of the beginning of the area. I am going to go back to the bonfire and rest, because I've lost more than half of my Estus, and I'm going to need every bottle I can get my hands on. So once again, let's take out this guy. Take out this guy as soon as he drops. He also dropped a Titanite chunk, which is very nice. It's not a common drop in here. And let's use this shortcut to keep progressing through the area. So the way forward is up these stairs. And here we find a few more scholars. And more of these hands that now unfortunately deal damage to me because my head is no longer waxed. And the nearest way to wax it is up there. For now I will open this chest, and I will come back here later using another shortcut visible right there. But for now I will leave this guy alone. And there is a crystal lizard here, which can be defeated to get some a twinkling titanite and a refined gem. Now the item over there is guarded by more of those hands, and I don't want to take unnecessary damage, so I will come back here when I wax my head. Alright, and here we are outside of the Grand Archives, on the roofs. Now to the right there is an item, a Titanite chunk, and there's another gargoyle, similarly to the ones from the profaned capital. And there we go. This one wasn't really that bad. Now if we go over here, we find another gargoyle that landed on me, which was not very nice. He then poked me, which also wasn't very nice. And there we go, I have taken him out. Now over here we find a soul of a weary warrior. And up here is also where we find two crystal lizards that we can take out. And it cost me my life. But hey, at least I got the twinkling titanite and a heavy gem and a sharp gem. Anyway, let me go back and take my revenge on that gargoyle. So once again, to the right, take this shortcut. Alright. Now I'm not going to take out these guys. I will do that after I wax my head. My goal is to just return outside and reclaim what is mine. First, though, I need to deal with this guy. is being very rude right now. Like, very rude. And who fell down there? And that's not where I want to go, so I will let you stay there. I will instead reclaim my souls. And well, this is awkward. Anyway. Like, come on, you're not doing anything to me. Just face it. And I don't want to drop there. I instead want to go over here and drop here and attack these guys by surprise. Before I do that, I would like to apply some extra damage to my weapon. Which, as it turns out, wasn't enough, and one of these guys survived regardless. Right, it turns out my weapon is not as good as I would have liked it to be. Alright, after finally dealing with these cheeky buggers, let's explore what we have over here. So there's a hollow gem over here, and over here is the balcony where I pushed that knight off. There's also a titanite chunk over here at the end of this roof. And if we go to the other side, by the way, there is nothing here. There's no reason to go outside this fence, I guess. Now over here we cannot go through here. We instead need to make a jump to get to this location, and this is where we find Greyrat, who failed to come back from his expedition, unfortunately. And we also find 3 titanite scales. Right, now this is a wee bit awkward, as all of the enemies I took out earlier are back up. But the good thing is I can wax my head, or dunk my head in wax, and then clear out the area still inside the building, which that is what I shall do. So, where are some scholars? There you are. See, now that the hands don't bother me, you are pretty much defenseless. There we go. Now over here we find a large soul of a crestfallen knight. And up here there is nothing aside from a vantage point. That was absolutely terrible. And I am now covered in wax more than I would like. Right, now like I mentioned, to the right this item is guarded by these spooky hands, and it's best to get it if you have previously dunked your head in wax. The item is Fleshbite Ring, which is like a weaker version of Poison Bite, Blood Bite and Curse Bite rings combined. Right, now moving on. That poor gargoyle is still stuck here. Well, I didn't tell you to fly over here, so that's not my fault. But, instead of going there, I'm going to go this way. where we can drop back to where we first exited the building, or we can keep going a little bit further to drop onto this roof and get another titanite chunk. And this is also where we find another gargoyle. So let's take it out. And spoiler alert, this is not the only gargoyle in here. If you step a bit too far, this other gargoyle will jump off and ruin your day. So it's best to be careful and take things one step at a time. Alright, after reaching, I guess, the end of this roof section, we can get a pretty decent view of a lot of scenery, I guess. And we can also drop over here, which is how we arrive at the higher floor of this area with scholars. And over here we find an ember. On this chair we find an undead bone shard. And here we can kick down a ladder, which then works as a shortcut. Now, moving on, we can also dunk our head in wax. And we can also go over here. There are some more of these guys, so let's take care of them, while trying not to die, preferably. There's also a knight with a great sword over here. And if you hear behind me, yes, that is the gargoyle that fell down instead of facing me. Alright, the knight with the great sword has been defeated, and let's finally take out this poor gargoyle. And by the way, yes, you could also have dropped from the roof right here. There's also a body with 2 titanite chunks. Alright, this building is almost completely looted now, so we can go outside and go beyond it, I guess. And in here is where we find 3 hostile NPCs. One of them we actually met before, this one. He is the NPC that we could have summoned for Vort. And we are unfortunately being ganked by those guys. So it's a good idea to try to utilize the terrain to our advantage, however funny it may seem. Right, let's now take care of you a little bit, shall we? Right, the sorcerer is out of the way, the warrior is out of the way, and now it's time for the ranger, I guess. There we go. And after defeating all 3 of them, we get a Sage's Crystal Staff from the Sorcerer, Onikiri and Ubadachi, which is a paired katana, and a Golden Wing Crest Shield. Alright, then we can move on. We find a large soul of a crestfallen knight. And here we find another elevator, a shortcut, so that is nice. I will send it down and we'll go back to exploring the area. So over here we can find a soul of a crestfallen knight, and we can also go up onto this roof, where I'm actually going to switch to Slumbering Dragon Crest Ring, as up here is where we will encounter a few well, a trio of winged knights. And the best way to deal with them is, well, to take them on one by one. And luckily for us, one of them is just straight up patrolling the area. And he should be coming this way. Right, so if we wait for him to pass, we can then sneak up on him. With Slumbering Dragon Crestring, it's trivially easy. Let's begin with a backstab. Alright, this guy is a little bit more jumpy. I think it's because of the wings. Right, after defeating him we get a large Titanite shard. Then over here, at the very edge of this roof, there is an Estus shard. And by the way, this Estus shard and the Undead Bone shard are the last ones. Our Estus cannot get any stronger after that. There's another knight who is facing this way, so let's go around here instead. And this knight right here is not facing this way, so we can take him by surprise. So once again, backstab into a charged attack, into almost a backstab, into this guy being very jumpy. Okay, this one is actually quite scary. And I do not appreciate it. Right, this guy was a bit tougher. He also drops a large Titanite shard. And let's now deal with the last of the trio. This time I'm not going to do a charge attack. I'm instead going to focus on getting the backstabs, which I failed. And this guy once again utilized the power of spinning. And oh my goodness, these guys are a bit too jumpy for my liking. Speaking of jumps, let's finish it with a jumping attack, and we get a Titanite slab as a reward for defeating all three of them. Now up these stairs we find a ladder which goes up, and here we can find Hunter's Ring. Now let me switch back to Silvercat Ring. And let me quickly mention what the Hunter Ring does. So similarly to how the Knight Ring increases strength by 5 points, the Hunter Ring increases dexterity by 5 points, and the Scholar Ring increases intelligence by 5 points as well. Now we can go back inside this building, where we can find Divine Pillars of Light, which is a miracle that is actually used by the Winged Knights. Over here, similarly to the cathedral, there's an area where falling off is lethal. At the end of this section there are some, well, there is a blessed gem. We can drop over here to deal with this guy, who is more tanky than he should have any right to be. And right next to him is a ladder, which we can take to slide down. And here we find 2 more chests. One of them has a Divine Blessing, and the other one has 3 Twinkling Titanites. Alright, now I don't want to go back all the way. to the bonfire, so I will instead use a homeward bone to go to Shrine Bonfire. And first things first, let me go to Orbeck and give him the scroll.
Back again, I see. Perfect timing, too.
I found this.
Unfathomable. This is a crystal sorcery. Created by the Pale Dragon. Thought only to exist in legend. I am ever grateful to you. This is truly sublime. I am afraid this is a debt I cannot repay. Only, I will be sure to unravel it for you. Just a moment.
Alright, so I would actually like to purchase all of his sorceries to finish his quest line. I am not going to use any of them, I'm just purchasing them to, like I mentioned, finish Orbeck's quest line. Right, and after doing that,
Promise to stay safe. It's been nice running our own little school.
Orbeck is done with teaching, and we will meet him a little bit later. But first, let me go up here and talk to Patches, who I believe should have returned. Indeed, there he is, taking a dump.
Well, look at you, the luckiest lass in the world. I just got hold of some truly fine treasure, and for you, I'll practically give it away. I just got hold of some truly fine treasure, and for you, I'll practically give it away.
Right, so what have we got? We've got almost nothing and the prices are still as high. You know what?
Now just wait. That's the best you can do? Bloody hell. Keep those purse strings nice and tight. So tight they choke you.
Alright, you have crossed a line.
God, Smith, I knew something was wrong. Well, why me? Why me?
Right, what do you have? Patches Ashes, Winged Spear Horsehoof Ring, and a Pierce Shield. Right, anyway, speaking of ashes, let's give them to Shrine Handmaid, so that she can prepare some new items for us.
Ah, well, how may...
Well, a grey rat has died under mysterious circumstances.
Gracious, passing fine ash thou hast given. And awfully warm at that. Almost as if it had lived mere moments ago. Oh, forgive an old woman's idle prate. I'm sure an ashen one such as thee would never indulge such base contrivances.
And Patches also died under mysterious circumstances.
Well, what warm, umbral ash have we here? It's as if thy fate were with death entwined. But take no note of me, thy business is thine own. As by now thou surely knowest, there is little I love more than a gratuity of souls.
So... Okay, she's crazy. So now we can buy a whole lot of items. Embers, blessings, weapons, shields, projectiles, a lot of different items, but I don't need any of them, so thanks.
Ashen one, Bish.
Right, Andre,
Just good, wasn't he?
I found the last Estus flask shard, and as it says, I cannot reinforce Estus further, Aside from that, I also found the last undead bone shard, and I also cannot kindle any further. Alright, let's go back to Grand Archives. So the building and its outside has already been pretty much cleared. What remains now is to go up here, take the shortcut instead of going through the building once more. Alright, and here we go. We need to cross this bridge, which is full of enemies. So let's take out all of them. Another good strategy is to just, you know, run past everyone. Right, what have we got? We've got 3 of these guys and 1 Lothric Knight. I guess I need to take out the Lothric Knight first. Alright, there we go. Let me also use an Ember to increase my max HP, as the upcoming fight is not one of the easiest. Alright, these guys have been defeated. Come on, that's enough of your blocking. Right, there we go. Let me heal up a little bit. And here we go. The last few enemies to deal with. Which it's in my best interest to face them one by one instead of all at once. I guess I can try to take 2 at once if I have like no other choice, but it's not something that I would like doing. Right, so both of the ones with the spears have been defeated. Now only the guy with the greatsword remains, and I guess it's greatsword against greatsword action, and I think the greatsword is going to win. Oh lord. Oh my. Alright, you know what? Let's finish this. Alright, the bridge is cleared and we may proceed to the throne room. Now, before I do that, over here to the left should be Orbek's summon sign, which there isn't because I didn't reload Firelink Shrine. Anyway, to the right we find another elevator. That actually leads to the building to the right of Dragon Slayer armor. And there was also another elevator right here that wasn't moving previously, but after activating the one above we can now go down as well. And this is pretty much the last part. of the game. Well, second to last. Down here we find a titanite slab, and I shall use a homeward bone to return to the shrine bonfire once again. Alright, before I actually head to the boss fight,
Welcome home, speak. Very well. Then
I
tell
would
me
like
now.
to level up some more. You know what, actually I would like to level up my stamina.
Farewell, Ashen One. May the flames guide thee.
Alright, so as I mentioned, Orbeck has left the shrine, and now we can find him if we go near the boss fog. I will show you where. So the closest bonfire is the Dragon Slayer armor. We need to turn back, and after exiting this area, the quickest way to get back to where we need to go is to the left and then up. Now, in order to prepare for this battle, I'm going to put on Lloyd's sword ring instead of the Night Slayer ring, and I will no longer need a Silvercat ring. I will instead equip the Flame Stoneplate ring. Right, let me send the elevator down just in case. Now, Orbeck's summon sign is right here. We can summon him for this boss. And Orbeck is not the only NPC we can summon. There is also another summon sign right here for a series of the Sunless Realms. But once again, continuing with the tradition, I will take bosses without summoning anyone.
Oh dear. Another dogged contender. Welcome, unkindled one, purloiner of cinders. Mind you, the mantle of Lord interests me none. The fire-linking curse, the legacy of lords, let it all fade into nothing. You've done quite enough. Now have your rest.
Here we go. Lorian the Elder Prince. Now, this enemy is surprisingly fast and aggressive, so my best option is to execute rolling attacks, which means attacking right after rolling instead of waiting. As if I wait for that little while, he might already wind up another attack and I won't have enough time to recover my animation. Alright, while he's charging up the attack, I can heal. Barely. And after dealing enough consecutive hits, I can stagger him and perform a critical strike. There we go. Lorien, the Elder Prince, has been defeated.
Oh, dear brother. I'm on my way. My brother. Unyielding sword of Lothric's prince. Rise if you would. For that is our curse.
Second phase. Let's go. Let's go indeed. Bonk. Bonk. And bonk once again. Yes, the animation had to finish. Priorities, people. Now, as you might imagine, from the cutscene, mid-fight, Lothric can revive Lorien, and your goal is to take down Lothric. So the best strategy is to attack Lorien from the back, where Lothric sits, but as you might imagine, Lorien is not going to sit with his back towards you. Now, don't be ashamed if you spend a lot of time fighting this boss. It's one of the hardest this game has to offer. And there's no shame in falling to one of the hardest bosses. Let's finish off Lothric. There we go, the last cinders of a lord and the soul of the twin princess, and also a bonfire. Alright, let's now return to the shrine as our journey is near its end. But the end shall have to wait for the next episode. This is where I end this one. The Grand Archives have been cleared, the Twin Princes are no more, and we are ready for the last chapter in our journey. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and I will talk to you later. Goodbye.